Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface, and with me I've got our Support Manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi guys, so we're going to be here for the next hour and we will answer any questions that you may have on Bitrix. So whether you are using any version of the Bitrix24 cloud or if you have an on-premise version, then we can show you in either of the sites. We have both sites set up here ready to show you on the screen. So do put your questions in the box on YouTube and we can pick them up as we go along. Or alternatively, if you do have any questions in the week, you can send them to the email address that's on the screen at the moment. So you can send them to sales@interface.com, or you can send them to live@interface.com, and we can answer them on the next session. So we're here every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and we're here for the next hour. Sometimes we end a little bit shorter if we don't have any questions coming in. We try and answer all the ones that we've got through and all the ones that come through on the chat. So please do post your questions when you have them.
Yeah, there's our contact details on the screen if, in case you want to get in touch with us afterwards. But Andy says post questions in YouTube for now. And we have a question on email. How can I make available to all the deals I import into Bitrix? Is it necessary to assign specific access to users? I've been importing deals, but not all users can see them. In fact, no one can see them, even if they are in the same business unit as me. So you permissions. You want to have a look at permissions then. So permissions are based on. You can set permissions up differently, but I think firstly when you're importing, you might want to make sure that let's have a look at deals first of all, because there's a tick box within I think all records, but certainly within deals that says available to all, available to everyone. So this one means that it's not a private deal. It is going to be available to other people, provided they then have access to see that. So I think if you've not got that ticked when you've imported them, then that's going to prevent them from seeing that. So
can you quick question, can you import that answer? I'm not too familiar with that. I just wondered if you could import, or the alternative is, could you bulk update the record? Make public.
Yeah.
So you could select them all and then click on the for all button and make public. That would then update all your leads, all your deals if you were having that problem.
Yeah, absolutely. You could maybe have a rule that does the same thing on new leads. Let's just scroll that down. So there might be that. Certainly, no.
I don't think you would be able to do it there. I don't think.
So there isn't a standard action item that would make them available inside there. So you would need to make sure when you import it that you're able to tick that box. And again, we could probably have a look at. Oh, like Andy says, if it's not available in these fields here, then it's probably not a field that you can import. Specify when you import, absolutely. So yeah, you would have to do your filter on which ones you want to make. What you would do is a filter on the what by date, so date created. Find your created on date somewhere, created on, and use that as a filter. So filter all the ones you created today, and then you can. We'll not get any when we do that filter on this one. And then you can select all of those and change the status. But once you've done that, they won't have automatic access to that unless you have the right permissions. So if we go into CRM and settings and into permissions and access permissions, then you need to create your group first of all. So if you're a small team, you might just need one group, but everyone has the same permissions, but you can add a group here. You'll have some groups already available. You can add a new one or use an existing one. So let's say we're looking at, this is a work group called LineCom. Maybe we just use that group, and all members of that group get this permission here, which is manager permission. So if you go into the role on the right hand side and select the manager role, then we can decide what access they have. So in terms of deals, you can actually on deals, of course you've got different pipelines on deals, so you can set permissions differently for different pipelines. You can see we've got a series of different pipelines down here. Do those independently. And then also in addition to that, you can set different permissions based on the different stages that they're at within that pipeline as well. So they can change, and the reason why you might want to do that is when they're one, you might want to have something like access denied, or probably read only or something like that. Sorry, on read you might want to have all, but on something like update you might want to have access denied, so they can't actually change it. But what you need to do is make sure that your settings are to if it's personal, then you just have that permission for the ones that are assigned to you, you're responsible for, and that can only be one person. Personal department means you can change, you have that permission for any that are assigned to you or assigned to anyone in your department. Then you can do departments and sub-departments as well, or all. So you could just choose all open or all that are open or all in total. So you can create that permission. You need to create a different permission for different types of access: read, add, update, delete, export, import, and then we've got a permission to be able to access the automation rules over there as well. So it can get quite complex here, but that's what some businesses need. Keep it as simple as you need to, I guess.
Yeah, got a question come through. How do I show translated names of fields on CRM forms? When I edit the names on the form, certain fields like last name, phone, comments don't show the edited name but the English only. So I'm not too familiar with how Bitrix handles the translation of the live conversion. So if you go into a CRM form, I'm not sure when you say that you've edited, then you would need to click on the gear icon. I would have thought that you could have changed that to name in your own language, and I would have thought that whatever you name this, specifically a translated version of this name, or whether it's a translated version of last name, whatever you change this to would show on the actual CRM form itself. So I don't know if you've tried that, let me know. But that's the only probably way of being able to change the form labels.
Okay, do I need a separate license to host two self-hosted environments, one for production and one for development? So with a self-hosted license, you're allowed to create two sites. So you can indeed create a live and a development site. In fact, we do this for our clients a lot, and we can actually create it for you so that your data syncs across as well. So your development environment always has up-to-date data from your live environment, and allows you to put changes onto your development environment, test those, and then with our process, it allows you to deploy those changes automatically when you're ready to your production environment, your live environment. So yeah, you can. Bitrix includes an intranet and extranet. So if you're inviting in external users and using the extranet, then that is actually a separate site, although it looks seamless as you go between the two of them. They can look exactly the same. They're separate sites and require separate licenses. So that's why Bitrix comes with two licenses, or allows you to have two sites on one license. So if you're not using the extranet, you can do that. If you are using the extranet, you would have to buy an additional license for that development work. I think if you've got a big license, like with a large number of users, I think you could actually have a smaller license for your development site and just disable some of the users. Even with the sync, we've done that. We've got a business that has about 2,000 users. I think on their development site, they only have a 50 user license. So they disable the users on there. But the data still is live, syncs across the two.
I think if you're going to go down that method, you just need to realise that you can't create anything on the live separately. You would always have to do it on the dev first, and then you would push those changes to live. That's the only drawback. You could never make any of those modifications on live. You would need to do it on dev first and then push to live. Got another question here. Can I turn on and off time and attendance for certain users? So you can certainly. So if you go to time and reports, and then you go to the work time, as long as you're an administrator, then you will get this settings icon here. Click on the settings icon, and then you'll see as soon as you press that, a little cog icon appears next to the department and each individual user. So you can do it on a departmental basis, so you can turn working time management off. We can turn it on. But if we turn it off, then close this, then we can do it on an individual basis. So if I said on for Damien, we can say the work schedule is flexible. I'll turn that off, and we can specify each individual settings per user on here. So you can see the ones that have been edited that are marked in gold previously. And then you can turn them off, and that will essentially switch time on and off, time management on and off for each individual employee. If you've tried the CRM forms that I mentioned, it doesn't work. Definitely submit a support request to Bitrix. There's no other way that I can think of why that wouldn't work. I think anything you should change that to should, unless it doesn't accept if you've got any accents or characters, special characters that are on your languages, that may cause some interference. But
what language is it? If you can tell us that. And may help. Okay, put our contact details up. Is there a constant running lead business process with variables that are allowed to be accessible and changed? So that part might not make sense, but I think this part does, sort of like using the business process to customize lead distribution to users. It will keep the last user assigned and drop the lead to the next user and save to the variable that user was the last user. This process would have to run indefinitely to save a variable that would keep the information until the next lead kicks off automation. Okay, this would be on a cloud version of Bitrix. So it's not a standard feature that is possible to do on a cloud version of Bitrix. It is something we've implemented for your real estate business. We've implemented this for another real estate business just recently. They're actually a business that not only do they need leads to be automatically distributed evenly to their sales team one after another, they also needed to have some preferences built in. So they wanted language preferences. So based on what the salesperson's language preferences were, what language they spoke, and what language preference the inquirer specified on the inquiry form, the lead would get assigned to the correct people. So it got assigned one by one, and then also choosing the language. I think it also looked at whether people are available in the office, not on leave, and things like that. So unfortunately, you can't do that. Automatically rotating, assigning leads like that on the cloud. I don't think there's any way of doing that in a business process.
Not on the cloud.
I mean, you can, if a lead has no activity, you can reassign it on to somebody after a period of time, and that's quite a good way. But I guess that's not really going to tackle what you want to do. You want to evenly distribute them to salespeople. So unfortunately, there's not a rule in the cloud. You can do it on the self-hosted, so you can write a little bit of code in one of these action blocks that allows you to do that. We've got that, so we could deploy it for you. You would need to migrate from your cloud to your self-hosted. On self-hosting, it will be fairly straightforward for you. We can host the site for you in our data center, so you don't need to have your own servers. We can put it on any domain, so you could have it on your own domain. You could have your own branding on there, things. So there's quite a lot of extra benefits to having a self-hosted solution. So we'll host it for you, we'll manage it for you, and we'll migrate your data from your cloud to your self-hosted. So there's going to be potentially a little bit more expensive, but not substantially more expensive to run that self-hosted instance. But it would be possible then to do quite a lot more like that. And that's probably the reason why people buy self-hosted, I think, offers. They always find that there's a process they want that won't work exactly the way they want it on the cloud, so that's why they move. But I don't think you could do it in here. I don't think there's a way of automatically reassigning a lead. I mean, you can change responsible person based on a condition, but yeah, I mean, you're just going to look at another field, based on the answer to that field, it would reassign it. I mean, you can, because you can't look at whether they've been assigned one recently, and as you say, you need to be able to update that in the table so that you can see who was the last person to have, and there needs to be an order and things like that. So doesn't seem to be any way of doing it. I mean, you can put in a control, as we said in here, control, and this would notify, let's say, in 5 days. So in 5 days, this will send a message to the supervisor, and that could be anyone else, to say if this lead hasn't changed status, essentially. So it would, it's looking for the lead to progress through these different stages, and so you could, if it hasn't changed stage, you could reassign it on to a supervisor or a team leader or something like that. But it's the best we can do, I think.
Yes, certainly. I had a question come through in the week just about some of the CRM marketing email templates, and it was actually just about adding HTML into the email template. So for those of you that don't know, you can send email campaigns out of your Bitrix system. But what you can do is, let's just go into our premise version, CRM marketing. If we go into templates here, then if we create a new template, we can, the client already knew this, but you can add custom HTML into an email template. So you can just straight paste your template in and then use that to send out for an email marketing campaign. But what you can do is, if we actually click into let's bring in a text. In fact, let's bring in a text just on here. Click on the little pencil icon. What we can do is maybe want 2 columns. So you can see it splits it into 2. The question was, how do I get HTML? And it's quite simple, really. You can just click on the little tool here and click into source code mode. And then that would allow you then to add your own. So we can put text, and then maybe we want it to be bold. And you can just simply start typing, and you can see the formatting's happened there on the left hand side. It automatically updates. But you can actually add HTML into here, so you can add your own images, you can add your own styling and formatting. And then if you want to switch back, it's just simply switch back to the editor mode, which will give you these tools here. So it is quite flexible, these tools. It gives you a lot more. To be fair, it gives you a little bit in an easier way than those that we have been using MailChimp, for example, because the actual editor tool gives you the ability to insert the HTML into it.
Yep. The Bitrix24 Softphone only works with Bitrix phone services, correct? Question mark. Or can I use Bitrix built-in Softphone with our own integrated free PBX server? So let's go into telephony, and so you can use it with free PBX. Bitrix can integrate, so you can basically you can buy credits from Bitrix, and you can make and receive calls using those credits. You can plug in a headset or a USB phone and use a desktop phone with Bitrix, and that way it's a simple way. You can integrate your existing phone system if you want to, and there's two ways of doing it. If there's an app available, then you can use the app. Three ways of doing it. If there's an app available, you can use the app. That will set it up for you. We have a free PBX app. Oh no, we don't have a free PBX app, do we? But we do have integration with free PBX. So so it's not there on that page, but we do have integration. We have integration pre-built for free PBX, although there isn't an app available on the Bitrix side. So if you got in touch with us, we could do that work for you. So we have the integration pre-built. This integration can be quite expensive to build, so if the app's not available, it can be quite expensive, but with the application ready, then we can deploy it for you. It's about $1,500, I think, as a one-off charge. I'd have to check that around that, but it's available to do. The other option you've got is to use the SIP connector that Bitrix provide. They charge $50 a month for that. That will do a similar job. Probably better to do it. It is almost definitely better to do it through the app. You'll get better. We get better reports that the call lag or anything like that is much better with using it with a direct integration with the application that we've got. So yeah, have to get in touch with us and we can do that for you, but I think it's around $1,500 to set it up for you. But the other option is, I think it's on the page. The other option is to buy the SIP connector. This page layout's changed a little bit just recently. Don't know where they've put it, but it's so let's see if it's in here. That's just configuring your numbers. Configure telephone users, voicemail. So I don't know where it is. Connect phone probably. So these are SIP phones. This will show you how to plug a phone in and what you need to do to get those to work in Bitrix. But there is a SIP connector, fortunately.
I think the SIP connectors in these, aren't they? So you can say buy SIP connector.
Oh right, okay, yes. Yeah, I mean that seems to be. Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's changed the layout a little bit, but okay. We had a question about is it possible to add a message to the activity stream of a normal work group and an extranet work group with a business process. So what you want to be able to do is do a business process and then send that message to a work group. And I think we might have to cover this off next week, but we could just have a quick look at it. So if we go into, say, business processes inside the CRM, settings, automation and business processes, and we go and add a template in here. So you can run a business process here on a company record, either automatically or manually, and you can post a message to the activity stream. See if we can find it. Oops. Add message to activity stream. So there is a standard action block that does that, but I don't think there's parameters to tag a specific work group in here, but I think it can be done. So I'm sure it can be done.
I think I'm not sure what would happen if you had. Let's just come out of here and let's just maybe we test it. see if the recipient could be, so let's just put test, and we'll give it a group name of test. Give our user, I wonder if the recipient could be the work group rather than having it as a user, because you only actually are sending it to the work group, aren't you? So let's have a look. So we've created a work group using the create work group action block here, and what we'll do is we'll try and see if we can post. I'm not sure if this will work, but if you click in additional results, oh no, we can't. It won't work. Trying to see if we could get the user the work group ID that we've just created into, but it's not going to let us use that. It's only going to let us use a user, unfortunately. So yeah, I think if you were to, if it was critical that you wanted to post activity stream messages to a work group, I think you would have to do that in with a little bit of PHP code. So Damien mentioned it a little bit before. If you are using the cloud, then you will not have this block here. So this is only available on the on-premise version, and this lets us essentially do anything that the other action blocks can't do. So we can add our own little handlers in here and post, in this case, but we could post to a particular work group.
Yeah, but we will check that before next week, and we'll try and cover that next week if it's possible. Okay, let's have some more questions. If you have more questions. Can I send an email when a deal is at a particular stage? So it's straightforward. You can do it. You can do it in here. So if we go to, not into there, templates, leave that.
I'll probably do it in the automation.
Yeah, I mean you can types. You can do it in two ways. So within business process, you can trigger a process based on a deal. So you would do that. We're going to do it when changed, when added, or when changed. So that means if a deal goes straight to a particular stage, or if a deal's changed to that stage, this process will trigger. We're going to add in an additional condition as well. And the condition is going to look at the stage. So I don't know how many stages we've got. We might do different things on different stages. But we can go to the condition type. We want element field. We're looking for stage. And then we can choose our stage. So you want to send an email when it's at a particular stage. So let's say it's at this qualification stage. We can save that, and then we can bring in an email.
The only thing extra that you would need, if you were to do it this way, I think would be, you would have to have a marker to say that you'd already sent the email. Yeah. Because otherwise it's going to trigger every time it's edited. Mm-hmm. So if you change the name,
yeah, so we
would have to have another check, wouldn't you, I think?
We would have, so what we would do, create a custom field within the deal that says email sent, and then we would modify that. We would tick that box essentially to say the email sent. Once we've created the custom field and then put the action block to select that custom field, we just have an additional condition in here that look for that field. We haven't created the field. We'd select the field in here, and we want to know that that field did not equal, and it will be a yes no. It'll give us a yes no then if it's a yes no field that we've created. Did not equal yes, and then based on the condition, both those conditions being met, we'll send the email. So Andy's right, we'll only send it once, unless of course you do want to send it every time. It might actually be that you do, but generally you want to send that once. I mean, you want to prevent somebody from changing the stage of a deal many times by accident and the customer receiving emails, of course.
Well, it's not triggered just on stage edit, is it? This will trigger on any edit to that particular deal.
Oh, right, yes, yeah.
So if you change any field in that deal, this is how this will trigger, and that's why you would need the additional. I think the easiest way to do it would certainly be in your automation. So if you go into your deals, click into automation, because once it's been sent, it's been sent. So if we were to click on in the approved, click on configure, click on add, and you can send two types of emails. You can send an email to the user on the system. So this is to the responsible person of this particular deal. Or, which is more common, you can send the client who is associated to this deal an email. And it's as simple as that, really. You give it a subject. To the right-hand side of the email, you can pull in fields from the deal, from the contact that's associated to the deal. So you can just simply use these blocks. I think this is the easier way of doing it. I did have another question, just going back to the CRM marketing side, and it's quite a common one, just with regards to unsubscribes. So Bitrix does, when you create a template in Bitrix, it gives you an unsubscribe link, and once an email address is unsubscribed, then it will unsubscribe it from every list. You don't have to do it on individual lists that you create. So if an email exists in this segment, and the unsubscribe, it will also unsubscribe them from another segment as well. So and if you want to, I think on here, do we have, so if you want to unsubscribe anybody as well, you can add them to the blacklist. And if you add them to the blacklist, then it will not email them either, even if they get added to a segment. So it's another way of importing.
Yeah, of course, you can do all your email marketing now inside Bitrix. You don't need to use an external tool like MailChimp. It's available. You have an allowance with your package. I think with the professional you get a million emails a month. The question we had this week was how many emails do you get with the self-hosted? And so with self-hosted you get unlimited everything essentially. Unlimited drive space because you're using your own server or a server you're renting, so you pay for the space, so you can have unlimited space provided you're paying for it. With email, you use your own email service, and so we use I think there's one built into AWS, the hosting provider. There's a couple of other ones that we can use for you, we can set up for you, and so Bitrix will send the emails using that service. That service will charge you for an email. I think we worked out something like £10 for 100,000. I think, is that right? Something approximately. Very inexpensive. £10 a year, I think, for 100,000. I mean, it's very inexpensive. It's not.
It's a month, I think.
£10 for 100,000.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it might be less than that actually. I think it's very inexpensive to do it this way. So you do need to pay, but you can send out 1 million, emails a month for very little.
Yeah, I think the one that we use Google Compute Engine, and Google recommend this particular one. So we have Mailgun. So if we click on pricing, then you can see here for sending 10,000 out, you can see here send 100,000, $79. So it's up to you. If you got your own, you can get your own email server. There's all sorts of different options that you want.
Yeah. I want to set sales targets for a particular length of time. How do I do this? So for a particular length of time, well, Bitrix allows you to let's go into the CRM. Bitrix has a dashboard, start dashboard, which has sales targets widgets, and you can configure those very easily in here. Configure sales targets. So I can select a sales target for a period of time. The standards are these ones available here. Usual one is a month, so I can import the target based on individual users. We can add additional users as well down here. So sales targets for a particular, that's it, that's how you do it. And you can do by different things, total sales or number of sales. Yeah, so that's how you do it. We do quite a lot of work building custom dashboards for people that want to see different types of information around sales achievements. I mean, some businesses have very complex sales targets whereby the salespeople are paid differently on new business against existing business, or on the amount of new business, or the number of new businesses that they brought on in that period. So it's quite often not as simple as just one single target. So we can do that. We can do that sort of work for you. We do dashboards whereby you can see line by line, a person's sales for that particular period. Different ways of doing that.
I've got a question. Are there any tools like Google Spreadsheets connector for Salesforce that we could use to manipulate or run external reports from Bitrix's database? So there's a couple of different options that you can do on getting data out of Bitrix. So if you've got the on-premise, you'll have the credentials to access the database, so you can pull out any data that you want. As long as you know the table structure of how Bitrix runs, then you should be okay. The other option, and I was doing a little bit this morning, looking at it this morning, is that maybe if you're on the cloud version, you could use Zapier. So Bitrix does have a... is there an app integrator like Zapier? So yeah, so just about to say, so it does have Zapier integration. I was looking at it today, and there are 3 options, I believe, for Zapier integration. If we look here, we've got Zapier for CRM, Zapier for tasks, and Zapier for communications. So I'd recommend going to the application store, having a look at whichever area you want to. I think all you'd need to do is, if you look at if you install it, look at the installation, and then click on this Get Invite link. It'll take you to when you're logged into Zapier, and you'll be able to do whatever you wish in there. So you can be able to connect Salesforce to Bitrix via Zapier on here.
Yeah, that's. I don't know how long it's been available for, because it wasn't available.
No, they took it off, didn't they? They took it off in January this year, and it's been reintroduced. So yes, I think there is if you just maybe because I did look at it this morning, Zapier Bitrix24. There is an article where it says no longer. I do believe. So if we scroll down, there is a site for it. So this is a Bitrix24 site, and it tells you a little bit more in here what we've got. So take a look, and hopefully that should be able to solve any queries that you may have.
Okay, can I book events in against a contact in the CRM? So you can do that, of course. I don't know if you want to do it automatically based on something, or just do it manually. But if you go into your contacts, then it is possible to create events. By events, I guess you mean calendar events. You can create I don't know. You can schedule a meeting, but it doesn't add it. It doesn't add it to a calendar. It depends what you mean by can I book events.
I think it does add it. Does add it to your calendar.
It adds it to your own calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you can share that. So I can book an event in for tomorrow.
I think the only restriction of doing it this way via the CRM is that you can only have the meeting with one person. So you've got Mike Black, okay, but maybe you wanted multiple employees to join that meeting. If you do it via the calendar way, what you can do is click on Add, and add as many people that you want from your company in. So let's just say it's a meeting with a group of them. Then if you scroll down, look at the CRM.
This is probably what we're missing. They're missing here because it's hidden at the bottom under that expand button.
So you could add Mike Black and Mark.
Add more than one.
Yeah. So doing it the CRM way.
Just save that one, and then we'll have a look.
Oh. Click on select, and let's just add it in, because it does add it to the CRM as well. So. Ooh. Let's do this. I'm not sure what it's doing. Let's have a look. And then if we scroll down, and we'll add it just to one of our contacts. Mike Black, and then save. So now if we go to the CRM and go to the contact in the CRM, is it Mike Black? Yeah, meeting. So you can see there. So if we click on that meeting, it'll open it up. And what if we had some more information in that? I didn't add anything into it, but that is how. So essentially, you get more users into the, and more contacts into the meeting rather than singularly.
Yeah. Okay, so post us some more questions. We don't have any more questions at the moment, I don't think. So we'll look, see if we've got any questions from in the week. So we get this quite a bit. The question we had earlier was, want to customize my quote PDF. So we can have a quick look at that. Then inside quotes. And if we open up, I think you have to go into a quote, don't you, to access this. So if we go into our documents,
add new template.
To our templates. So we have some templates available here. Let's add a new one, and we can download any of these templates as a Word document, and then we can change that and re-upload. Upload it here, and then either as a new one or replace the existing one, and it will replace it. So we can design it in Word very, very easily. And if we go into the fields here, these are the references we can use to sync data from the quote into that quote template. So created by, your quote today was created by John Smith, if we use that reference there.
Yeah, they are quite easy, aren't they? And then you can just assign it to a particular. So for quotes, generally all you would need to bind it to, so you can see in here. So you can't generate them in any other module other than a quote. That's probably what you would do. And what we have had before is people that generate multiple templates for quotes. They've got their own personal signature on. So you could actually say only John Smith can access this quote template. So this quote might have John Smith's signature on. Click on save, only John Smith will only be able to access this quote. Then if Damien wanted his quote with his signature on, we would set Damien to be the only template user. So it would just show his template. So we've had that as well before.
Yeah.
So they are quite flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can have a template where you have this quote was created by, or you could use that field to sort of do it dynamically, depending how you want to do that. Okay. Let's put our contact details up. Let's have some more questions. Otherwise, we'll come to an end, I think.
Yeah, for those of you that have joined us a little bit later on from the start, these sessions are recorded and they will go onto the Bitrix24 YouTube channel. So if you need to go back and just check how we did something, or if you sent a question in and we might have answered your question at the start, then you can see the replay of this once it gets uploaded to the Bitrix24 YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. I don't think we've got any more questions that have come in.
Yeah, so register for our webinars on our website, intraface.com/webinars, and if you subscribe to Bitrix24 but also Intraface on YouTube, then you'll receive notifications about live sessions like this. Okay, thanks for your time and see you next time.
Yeah, bye for now.